Welcome to the Voices of the Goddess podcast. We believe that there is a goddess inside each and every one of us. When we use our voice to share that goddess, we support and uplift each other. Join us each week as we interview women to receive the message of their goddess within. Hello, everyone. I am Julietta, the Magical PT, here with Allyson, your lifestyle transformation coach. Join us each week as we interview amazing women in the community to share their insights on how they use their tools to achieve their desires. Today, we are joined by my good friend, Karen Rowe. She is an acupuncture physician. And I'm going to let you introduce yourself a little bit, Karen. Tell us what you do and what you bring to the Wonder Women of this world.
Thank you, both Allyson and Julietta, and it's exciting to be here this morning. I'm an acupuncture in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, practicing Oriental medicine for 20 years. Along the line, I've done a lot of other personal development work along with coaching. My recent coaching certification is with Mark Divine and Unbeatable Mind. And along with that, I've also studied with Jamie Wheel and a lot of the people on the West Coast doing flow development work. So I'm just so excited to be here. I can't think of two better ladies to spend the morning with. And I thank you for your time.
That's so nice of you to say. And like, you have so much experience and knowledge behind you. So I'm certain we're going to get a lot out of this podcast this morning.
Fantastic.
So, unless you have anything to add right now, Allyson, we're going to jump right into our 4 questions.
I have one really quick question, Karen. What is flow work?
Flow. Okay, so flow is a concept that was developed by a positive psychologist who he's in his 90s now. One of these Polish last names, Cessation, and he saw with human beings that we could be in this optimal state of performance when there was enough challenge and enough skill. So it's this challenge skills equation. So if your skills meet the challenge, or if the challenge just slightly higher than your skills, it's going to sort of force you into this dynamic of spiral upward development. And
that's cool.
Yes. And a lot of the technology companies in, Google, Facebook, all the guys out in Silicon Valley are tapping into creating flow workspaces and flow development for their staff, because what's happened in our society is we've become very lopsided, where we have this talent set maybe in technology, but the lack of development over other skill sets that actually add to better technological development. So it's a fascinating culture.
Very cool. Thanks for answering that. I've
course.
never heard you talk about that before, so I had to interject real quick. Okay, Juliette, I'll let you go.
Excellent. So our first question is, what is your superpower, or if you had to choose one, what would it be?
Well, if I had to choose one, it has to be resiliency. Being able to, I'm going to use the word flow again, between different states. Like what 2020 has really taught all of us is, first of all, actually how resilient we are to change. But we also have to have this secondary skill of flexibility and being able to pivot out of these situations where our old self just can't go forward. Like having that dynamic and being resilient, also give freedom. And it's, just my life history from where I was born, the birth order in my family, all these different things. Resiliency is just a theme that comes up time and time again. And, I used to resist it, but now it's my best friend.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a superpower needed to make it through 2020. And
Yeah.
Somehow
Yeah.
I think we're going to need it a bit in 2021 also. I think we're still going to have to be on that mode of resiliency.
Yes, yes. I think
for
2020,
sure.
yeah, in
Go ahead, Karen.
2022, we're going to have the celebration, like, you know, woohoo, like, yeah, the ceiling will blow off the house,
Right.
and we're going to raise, and it's just going to be like amazing celebration on Earth.
Yeah. The thing that I've been telling everybody, because like I remember in 2018, people were like, oh, 2019 is going to be so much better. And then in 2019, everyone's like, oh, 2020 is going to be so much better. And 2020 was like, take that. So
Yeah.
what I think everybody needs to tune into is we need to have gratitude for what 2020 was. And, you know, I look at myself and so many other people, like there is so much great stuff that has come out of 2020. And thank you. Like, I don't think I'd be where I am today if it wasn't for all of the craziness of 2020. And I just hope everybody can kind of tune into that sense of gratitude for what 2020 has brought us. And like, I'm sure, you know, for you, like your superpower resiliency, I'm sure 2020 strengthened your resiliency. So thank you, 2020. Let's all
Exactly.
step into. We got like a week and a half here left, so let's all like step into gratitude for 2020.
Yeah. It's like being in a dance club and the DJ put down a different beat, and your old dance isn't going to work. So you have no choice but learning how to dance to
Learn
this
a new dance. Absolutely. That's a
Exactly.
great way to look at it, Karen.
Yeah.
All right. Question number 2 is,
Yeah.
what is a book that has greatly influenced your life?
Probably it comes from the spiritual realm. It's a book called the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying. And there's a translation by Sogyal Rinpoche. He is he presently is not teaching anymore, but at one point in time he was teaching a lot. He had an ashram in France. The teachings of the Tibetans on, you know, the essence of birth, life, and death, and that they're all the same thing, and there's really no birth and there's no death. It's just transforming continually these energetic states, and how actually when we really get deeply into our awareness and understand with compassion the interconnectedness of everything in the universe, it's just mind blowing. So it's a book I've given to numerous people. I've read it and reread it, and I keep going back to it because it's just full of nuggets of for me, good living practices.
Yeah, I'm going to have to check that out, because the more and more that I dive into the whole wellness side and learning and educating and researching, it is so true how everything affects us. Everything from the earth to the sun to the moon to the stars to what we eat to how we exercise, how we think, how we handle our mindset. I mean, it just is. I agree. I'm definitely picking up that book. Thank you.
You're welcome, Allyson.
And I think even right now, you know, COVID has placed this huge fear of death on society. And, you know, I think for me, like my biggest lessons with the whole life and death, and that being just transformation, and it's nothing, you know, they are the same, they're one. Like I really tapped into that lesson a lot when my mom was sick and dying. And, you know, I had, because of, you know, her condition, it was something that was taking course over years as opposed to like a quick transition. So I had a lot of time to really process that. And but I think it's a great space right now for people to connect with, to let go of some of this fear that everyone has surrounding COVID, because fear does nothing to help us be well and healthy and living well in these times. And so yeah, it's probably a great book for everybody to pick up right now and check out.
One of another teacher, Mark Devine, his Japanese karate teacher, always said, "One day, one lifetime." You know, and that's we have this day, and it's actually a reflection. It's our lifetime right here. So we don't have yesterday, we don't have tomorrow. We have to just live today and make it the best day. However, like life is going to happen, and yeah, like really awful, sad, tragic, scary. But you know, it's life, and you can, you know, how we move through it is always our choice. You know, we how we acknowledge the pain and how we acknowledge the joy. You know, is it's always a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so true. So true.
All right. Question number 3, because it's super important to be a Wonder Woman, to have self-care. What are the self-care practices that you incorporate into your life, Karen?
Especially as an acupuncturist, I'm super curious to hear about this.
Well, I have been forced to really strongly look at what I'm eating. I had a kind of not a vegan diet for many years, but I ended up with a pretty bad skin condition this year that I had to look at and understand that my diet wasn't supporting it really well. So, and this was another blessing from COVID. I stopped eating at restaurants and started preparing all my own food. So, you know, I have, I eat a lot of avocados, eggs, salmon. I don't eat a lot of sugar or grains. And, you know, thankfully my skin's healed up well. Other things that I have really, I got in the habit about 5 years ago of journaling every morning, and really going into my closet of skeletons and bringing them out and examining, you know, what my little story is of my past or my interactions with people, and the things that, you know, have brought me joy, and the things that I struggle with internally. And a lot of times when I found myself putting them down on paper, I'm like, wow, you know, I just let this stuff go. You know, it's not helping right now. So, but yet, you know, being able to acknowledge through daily journaling, all of it has probably the second biggest self-care. And third one is exercise. Like I'm a person, I have to move my body. And if I don't move every day, I'm not a happy camper. So just being able to do some yoga or spinning or walking or, you know, whatever it is, even, you know, some a training workout of the day is just got to keep moving.
Awesome. Yeah,
Yes, agreed.
Alice and I are huge proponents of journaling. Like, so used. It makes me sad when people don't understand like how powerful of a tool that is to heal yourself. And yes, movement, body's got to move, everything's got to move. So if you're not moving, you're dying. So
yeah. Well,
I tell my husband all the time. I tell my husband all the time, like, he's like, what do you write in that journal? I'm like, it's like my therapist. It's cheaper than a therapist, that's for sure. And it's helpful. He's like, I'm sure it's all about me in there. I'm like, hey, now.
Yeah, they think everything's all about them.
I know. Yeah. Sugar component, I have really been working to take that out of my diet too, and really noticing a big difference in how I feel. I'm really pleasantly surprised because it's not an easy decision because I love sugar. I really do, but it made a big difference. So
it's huge. And when you read about the history of sugar and how it's filtered into our food system, and really how addictive and toxic it is to our body. Yeah, it's nice for a treat once in a while, but it was never meant to be eaten daily. Like right now, Americans eat 66 pounds of sugar a year. on
Yikes.
average.
Per person?
Yeah, per person. Like
That's
in
a lot of
yeah, like in 1900, the consumption was less than 1 pound per person per year.
Wow.
So yeah, so the load, like when you look at the load that people eat between beverages, juices, like, there's all these juices that they put on the market for kids, like orange juice and all these things, loaded with sugar. And I'm not here to be Debbie Downer, but like it's just it's a toxic chemical that needs to be reined in a little bit.
No,
Yeah,
you know what
I
I
think
was
people
reading?
don't.
Go ahead, Julietta. Go
I
ahead.
was just gonna say, I think people don't realize like how like everything it's added into, like things that you wouldn't even think is loaded with sugar. Like our condiments and
Mm-hmm.
everything that's processed that if it's on the inside aisles of the grocery store, it's probably loaded with sugar. You got to stay on that outside rim of the grocery store to avoid the added sugars. What were you gonna say, Allyson?
Well, I find it so interesting. I was just reading recently. So I was a huge proponent of my kids having a glass of juice in the morning because I thought, well, if they weren't going to eat the fruit, at least they would get the orange juice, right? Okay, such a bad idea. So not good. And really, in my past life, when I used to work at a school as a teacher's assistant, we have some of these kids come in bouncing off the walls wondering why. All it takes is a glass of orange juice. There's so much added sugar in there. It's really scary, actually. So like the best thing you can do for your kids in the morning, if you on here are watching live or during the replay or listening to the podcast later, give them a big glass of water in the morning. That will be the best thing you can do for them, along with a nice meal before they head off to school. But a big glass of water is way better than a glass of orange juice on every level. So my little plug there.
Yeah, absolutely. And like this one doctor that I follow, Dr. Mark Hyman, he's got this. I was reading about how labeling in one of his books, and like strawberry jam, Smucker's strawberry jam. If you pick it up, like the first ingredient listed is strawberries. So you go, oh, cool, that's strawberries. But the next three ingredients are sugars. So there's actually only like 10% strawberries in there to 60% sugar. And it's all added sugar. It's not coming from the fruit itself.
That's really bad.
Yeah.
Scary out there.
Okay. We could go on forever about that. So let's go to number 4.
So when we polled our Wonder Women out there to find out like what they really, wanted support with, one of the big things that always came up was accountability and how to create accountability in our lives. So what do you do, Karen, to create accountability?
A couple different things. I have at the end of my day, I get up my schedule. I have a paper schedule that I keep, and I go through and check off, what I did and what I didn't do, what I had planned to do and what I achieved. And I also keep a kind of like a grid sheet of habits. So like one of my habits is meditating 20 minutes in the morning. And one of them is studying different, courses I'm taking. All these different habits I line up and I make check marks, but after everything I did for the day. So it's a grid. It's a very easy way to track, hey, did I show up today? And actually the best way to stay accountable is having an accountability partner of some sort, whether it's a coach or someone who is not your friend, who you're going to chat with once in a while, and they're going to go, you're telling me a story right now. What did you actually do?
Well,
and
they
it's
could be
okay.
they could be your friend, but they have to be able to call you out on stuff, right?
Exactly. And most of they'll call you out so far, but they also have investment. Like they'll only let you call them out so far. But somebody like that person removed can actually, not that you want to be thrown down on the mat, but you have to sort of kind of be tripped up a little bit to go, wow, You're right. I never thought of that. You're like, or hey, maybe I am making things too hard on myself. Like, some of us can get really OCD about, I can get OCD about stuff. So sometimes I have to be told, like, girl, just take a rest. You don't have to be like 100% on all this stuff.
Yeah.
So if any of our viewers or listeners wanted to maybe talk more with you about, because, I put in the description how you've been an acupuncture physician here in South Florida for a really long time. You're very, very well experienced and excellent at what you do. If someone wanted to reach out to you and talk to you, what's the best way? Maybe we can put something in the chat below in the comments that they could reach out to you.
I have a website. It's www.fortlauderdaleacupuncture.com.
Okay, I'm going to put it in the chat right now.
Great. And Fort is spelled out. And the other way is, of course, they can directly email me. And you have my email address, preferably the Yahoo account. And,
Wait, let me repeat this. It's fortlauderdaleacupuncture.com.
Yes, please.
Awesome. So we like to wrap it up with what is our big takeaway for today. And I'm going to put out there, like, this was before our questions, but the whole talk about flow. Flow keeps showing up in my life. And so, that message of me needing to go more with the flow. So for me, that was just kind of like the universe is chiming in here again to remind me to keep flowing. So, Allyson, what was your takeaway today?
Well, aside from the fact that I have a lot of background noise with a dog and a puppy, so I apologize to our listeners. We just got a new puppy yesterday, and we have a 5-year-old dog who is very intrigued by this whole scenario. Okay, my greatest takeaway, I think, really, what I was thinking when Karen was talking? As I was growing up and I was a young woman in my 20s and 30s, I just kind of let life happen. I just kind of went along with whatever. I reacted a lot. Wasn't proactive. I reacted a lot to what was happening around me. And I realize now, as the older I've gotten, is that life really is about being proactive, not reactive. And that's in everything. Like Karen, you talked about, how like you had to make changes to your diet. You have a point of meditating, you journal. Like, I think we have to come to a point, each on our own, that we do need to do those kinds of things, and they help us have a well-rounded, fulfilling, enjoying, long, hopefully agile and active life. And so I think if you're listening here and you don't incorporate any of these habits, just choose one that Karen brought up. One of these will make a big difference, I think, in your daily life. So I think that's my big takeaway, is that you really have to be proactive. You just can't sit and just react to everything.
Nice. Any final words, Karen?
One of my favorite quotes, and I think it's something I just heard a couple of years ago, but it comes from a poet. He was I believe he was European. His last name was Rilke. And he says, live into your questions, because one day you'll also live into the answers. But the essence is to live into life. Like life is a mystery to all of us, and be open to explore that. Like, that's like the beauty right there. Certainly show up for your obligations and show up for what you got to do, but also like stay curious, and have fun.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that, Karen.
Yeah.
I do too. So I put that, I put that quote into our comments too. So I thought that was great. Thank you.
You bet.
Awesome.
Thank you both. I mean, wow, it's such a pleasure to be with both of you. I know how hard you work to get this going. So thank you so much.
Oh, it's an honor to have you. You're awesome. We love you.
We love you too.
I was like, I see Karen just as this wise woman that has just so much to offer. And so
yes,
I feel so blessed that you joined us this morning and shared some amazing nuggets of knowledge with us. Thank you so much.
Well, happy holidays to both of you.
Thanks so much for listening to our show today. If you enjoyed what you heard, please subscribe so you can get the support you need in becoming the goddess you are meant to be. Check out the show notes for information on how to connect with Allyson or Julietta, as well as for links to resources mentioned in the show. Have a magical day.
I just want to say thank you to everybody who's tuned in to watch, and to make sure you don't miss any future episodes, please subscribe to our channel on YouTube, and follow us on Facebook, and soon we'll be getting this up on podcast, so you can tune into our podcast. So have a magical day, everyone, and thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. Thanks so much.
Bye. Bye.